Why is manifestation not enough? My name is Paul Vázquez with Tax Lab. We help people become ethical millionaires. Manifestation may not be enough, and this is one reason why. In manifestation, you try to get as clear a picture as you can of that final destination, that final step of where you want to get to. At least that's how most people think of manifestation, is that you're trying to get to this end goal. Now, yes, you can kind of begin to try to manifest each little step along the way, but there's something that manifestation alone has a tendency to overlook. Manifestation has a tendency to overlook understanding where you are right now, where you're starting from. Most people who are talking about manifestation actually want you to turn a blind eye to where you're starting from, where you're currently at, to not worry about where you're starting from. And this can be a fatal flaw, especially if your goals revolve around financial success. There is a bit of a false security that we end up having in life because we don't realize how we got to where we are now. Oftentimes, financially, it took us a little bit of trial and error to try to figure out the rise and run of the steps in front of us. And so we had a little bit of trial and error to get to the pattern where we understood the rise and run of the steps that we're going to be taking and the distance between the step we're on now and the step we want to get to, how that next step is made or exists, right? How high it is from the step we're currently on, how long of a step it is or wide of a step it is. We've gotten used to a particular pattern that one step is going to be the same as the one that was right before it. And because we're in this pattern of life, we think that each step we take is going to be very similar to the one before it. And this is fine. This works for a lot of people who just want to have a consistent level of living. They're not really trying to change their life, the trajectory, how high they can get on the financial ladder of life. Now, if you do want to reach up to a higher level, that means if you're trying to do it in a shorter amount of time, the rise of the following step might be different. The size of the foot pad that you can step on might be more, might be less. You don't know because you haven't taken that step yet. Now, in visualization or manifestation, you can try to conceptualize what this next step is going to look like and get a clear picture as much as you can in your head. But if you don't know where you're starting from, you don't know how much that rise is for your next step because you don't know exactly where you're starting from. And you can lift your foot up, but you miss the next step. Wouldn't it be great if we had a clear picture not only of where we want to get to, but where we're starting from? If we understand where we're starting from, then when we take that next step, we're going to have a better idea of the difference between where we're at right now and where we want to get to. We have to have that understanding to really make good judgment calls on what the next step we take should look like. Financially, this means you should understand your personal numbers. You should understand your budget. How much is it costing you to live every month? You should know your net worth. What is the total assets that you have that you can employ or not employ, that you're utilizing, that may be depreciating in value? What does that balance sheet of your personal life look like? And lastly, at least on the financial side, what are the cash flows, the ins and outs? How are things What's accessible to you right now, and how much do you need to be planning for the next? And it's kind of done through bookkeeping. Of course, bookkeeping is what's going to give you that mirror into what's going on, where you're at right now, so that you've got some personal balance sheet, you've got a cash flow or profit and loss statement, and then you've got your budget, kind of what your average costs are. Maybe you're throwing in there some goals as well into that budget. But understanding these things gives you a really good understanding of where you're at right now. And if you know where you're at right now, then when you're trying to go to that next step, you're trying to go to that next level that maybe you haven't gone previously, and you don't have that rhythm of the rise and run of each step, when you're trying to change the rhythm of your life, having a good understanding of where you're starting from is paramount. You need to have at least, I would say, a monthly reckoning, a monthly measurement of where you are right now. If you have a clearer picture of where you are every month, then you're going to be a lot better off. You're going to be in a better position to take the next step that maybe you never have taken in the past. It does not have the same rise and run of everything you're used to. Yes, you can coast through life having the same pattern of the rise and run to your financial success. However, if you're trying to get to a higher level than what your life is giving you right now, you need to know your numbers. Go ahead and go to lab.tax, click on advisory services. We can provide you with that foundation. We can help put the things in place that then produce those documents, those measurements for you on a monthly basis. But go to lab.tax, click on advisory services, do a free 15-minute consult. We're going to see if you're ready, if you're someone who's ready to take the next step and really understand where you're at right now, so that those plans actually work for you, so that any manifestation that you might be doing becomes more successful. I wish you guys all the success. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.